Hello, everybody. Yes, I have the same trouble today to start my YouTube here. So I have to restart, get a new one. Get this one. Let me post it. Make sure everybody get it because it's kind of it bothered me. Whatever, YouTube make it so slippery, so not YouTube. I make myself so so vulnerable. When I need to start the broadcast, I don't know where to click. Just it's not easy to find out that button. So let me just let people know in case they are lost in here. Okay. So give me a second. Live streaming. Okay. Come here instead. Use this link. Use this link instead. Okay. Let me also open up the just bear me for a moment. Bear me for a moment. Google Meeting. Yeah. So here, record it. Okay, great. Finally, I feel good about this. Make sure I'm still on the. All right. Hello. Oh, hello. Anyway, all right. We get started. There are a little bit delay because of a technical issue. Tonight, what we are going to talk about. Actually, like after three talk about defeating year-long depression by days, I can do it. You can too. After this talk sequence of talk, and I think that what is the that probably depression population probably in the US is about like 10% of the population. So according to different statistics, obviously. So in a lifetime, everybody have about 10% probability to fall into depression. And population-wise, right, it's also 10%. And so I see it from that perspective. So there should be, affect a lot of people. If like 300 million people in the US, and you would think that that's a big number. But at the same time, when you look to the 90%, right, 90% of the time we are kind of normal, kind of not in such a severe extreme situation. That's so. Is that kind of information, that kind of a skill set you develop by beating depression even helpful? And that's the question I was asking myself. I say, so actually, one of the interests I have developed in the last probably years, easily 10 years, is how to be more efficient, how to be more effective in my work, in my life, things like that, right? One thing I have big challenge of, accepting myself or live really happy is like, I'm not satisfied about my performance. And not all the time, but a lot of time, I think that, I can be better. I can be faster. I can be smarter. I can be stronger. Something like that. I have some kind of competitive spirit inside me, trying to beat myself, basically. Beat myself, beat my past self. And intentionally, unintentionally, I also compare myself with many people I know personally, or I just read from the internet, right? Say, Elon Musk, right? He is probably a couple years older than me. And wow, he is like creating a big phenomena. He's creating a $1 trillion business, right? I think, oh my goodness, compared with him, I'm nobody. So I easily get myself upset, get myself, like disappointed on my own performance. So like, I'm not sure whether you have that kind of trouble. I do. For many years, for many occasions, when I was in like say academia, or I'm industrial, right? That kind of thing actually. Let me just reply some people, ask them to come here instead. Okay. Use this link instead. Just bear with me a little bit troubleshooting. So make sure people are coming into the right place. Oh, that's not even the right. Okay, I think that people probably, hi. Okay, anyway, in case you missed the live streaming, that's not a big deal. I recorded. I'm kind of sneaky. I recorded on my Google meeting at the same time, and I broadcast it at the same. So you will not miss the information. So the point is not to be stressful about all this technical stuff. I already see the result, so I'm very happy. There is okay. Just come back to a little bit like a warming up. I have trouble, accepting myself, accepting my own performance. So I know the point that like I basically like I need to work harder. I need to work faster, think faster. I need to do this, do that. Oh, by the way, great avocado. I'm eating avocado. So I'm pushing myself pretty hard. The result is like to become another, the best of the best in the field. It's really tough, right? I don't know about you. Like, say I was in academia, right? I was at Yale for 3 years. So everybody is extremely smart, probably except me. That's what I see. That's how I felt it, right? So how can you beat those people, right? Compete with those people and publish like say the paper like Science, Nature, and whatever. So easily I get myself into some kind of emotional turmoil, emotional dissatisfaction. Oh, okay, don't worry about this. Just keep life simple, I would say. Don't worry about the technology at this point. So this is a challenge I have been facing either in school or in work, right? Say when I come to the industrial, I say that, okay, industrial, what do you do? Right? Make money, right? Make big bucks and compare myself with, oh, that's that guy, right? That guy earn like X amount of money every year or even every month, right? Then I compare myself. My goodness, I'm earning like 1/10, even 1/100 of what he's making or what she's making, right? And actually, why do I compare with myself with this guy or this girl? Because I see that, by age, he is like kind of similar to mine, right? By the way, I'm 48 this year. Many of the people already reached this age. They're already fired, right? They're not fired by their company. They're already financial freedom. Like even some people, like at the age of 30, at the age of 40, at the age whatever, right? So I look at myself. Oh my goodness, you doesn't seem to be that successful. You are not fired. I'm not fired by my company, but I'm not freedom, right? Financially, I'm not freedom. So what the heck's going on? And do I need to beat myself up, work harder, wake up every morning in 4-5 o'clock, and started to, push all the information into my brain and try to produce something amazing. Not pooping. Right? pushing the information in my brain, and hopefully spit out something valuable, right? But the reality is, if I try that hard to push that information, that knowledge into my brain, really hard, right? I force myself to eat whatever machine learning, data science theory, high level mathematics, programming language, things like that. If I push it into myself, I tend to not producing, poop. I tend to put them out. Put them out unintentionally. I try to produce something good, but it seems that treasure in, rubbish out. So I hate that kind of pressure. I hate that kind of productivity, right? Who want to eat something really good and pull all the time, right? Although it's probably good for your body. Right? If your body it only tells your body right, doesn't accept that kind of pressure, doesn't accept that kind of even it is the theory of relativity, right? If you people push you by pressure, you push yourself to eat that thing, it basically become poop, right? And it's no good. It's no good. So I have that kind of struggle. I have that kind of situation, either in academia, in work, pressure, right? From my peer, from myself. Basically, how this pressure come into being? Basically, it's me. The biggest problem is I created, right? I cannot blame Einstein, who wrote the theory of relativity. I cannot blame my extremely smart, extremely productive colleague who already been fired, right? At the age of 30, at the age of 40. I cannot blame them. The only thing when I look back actually is myself. I create that big mess. I create that the biggest problem in the world, in my world. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? Oh, I'm asking myself. I'm not asking you, right? In the Chinese idiom, if you make a rock, you have to untie the rock by yourself. It's called 系铃人还得有解铃人，是不是？Whatever. My Chinese is getting a little bit degraded, not having been able to talk in Chinese for a long time. And so the point is that if I create a big problem, and can I untie it? Can I why my brain? Can I become not pushing myself that hard, being more satisfactory of what I have, something like that. I want to, actually. I really want to, but it haven't been really successful. I try many ways, obviously, right? So not sure you have the same kind of thinking, like say you want to be the number X, top number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever. You want to, in that school, right? You want to be the top number 1, 2, 3% in your industry, right? And after trying many times, for a long time, you basically become disappointed at yourself, right? I'm not that material. You can explain, or I explain, right? I explain myself. I'm not Einstein. Why do I want to get Nobel Prize at the age of 20, 27, 28, right? I'm not that person. So I got to accept myself, right? And or I'm in industrial. I'm not Elon Musk, right? I'm not Elon Musk. I didn't go through the same school as he did. I didn't go through the same childhood turmoil as he did. And I didn't have the same mom, same dad, same people around him as he did, right? So I basically try to explain myself out of that kind of situation. Hey, Paul, don't worry. Yeah, just like be yourself, and as long as you are still alive and you have your family, you have food on the table, a roof on the top, right? Be satisfied. Just this is normal life, right? Take it easy, man. And so I also went through that period of time, stop competing. That's stupid, right? compete myself with Elon Musk, compete myself with Michael Phelps, compete myself with Michael Jordan. That's basically crazy, right? It's so I basically you can see that the pendulum basically swing from competing with the best of the best in the field and swing to another end is not competing at all. I'm retired. I'm fired. Right? I'm fired from that game. No longer competing. And so basically, if you hold that kind of a mentality, you live an easier life. I would say easier life, definitely. So for every competition, not me. I'm too old. I'm not that smart, right? I'm not that strong. I'm not whatever, right? You label yourself and you started to learn from your real life experience. That doesn't work. I'm just being myself, whatever, right? Whatever result I get, that's me. In the Chinese idiom, it's like when you are born, you already, so-called heaven already determined how much money you make, how much knowledge you get, how much level of maturity or skill set you will reach. That kind of mentality, right? I bought into that for a period of time. But guess what? Right now, I see that whoop, 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 probably for many times, right? As the pendulum to swing to one extreme and to swing back to another stream and back to another stream and back to another stream, like keep moving back and forth on two streams for many times. And I started to ask myself some question. Is there a sweet spot that you okay, let's mention it about a little bit. If you withdraw yourself out from any of the competition, any of the measurement of your progress, basically, here's the result. I don't know about you. To me, I'm taking a lot of random walk, right? Because there's no target to shoot. There's no target big and exciting enough to shoot in life. So everything is take it easy, right? Everything make an easy decision every time. But what I find out is when I don't have a real, very clear crystal target to shoot, a big and exciting target to shoot, I tend to make easy decision in life. But that easy decision will got me and will bite me. Yeah, it's easy, right? And it turned out that many of those decisions to be a stupid, low quality decision. Now, let me give you one example, a very simple example. Probably you encounter it in your real life. Imagine that situation. It's not real. I want to say I have a intense moment with my spouse. Oh, by the way, let me put the disclaimer here. It's not my real spouse, my imaginary wife. Right? My real wife is extremely kind, extremely patient, extremely mature. And so that's happened somebody, my labels like, I follow his situation into my demonstration. Like say I have a very hard time with my wife, right? My imaginary wife. Let's make it clear. And so that afterward, my wife said that, okay, tonight where do you want to sleep, right? You want to sleep with in the doghouse or you want to sleep on my bed, right? So I like to put that disclaimer first. It's not my real wife, just an imaginary situation. Say I have that kind of hard time, like a big intense conversation with her, right? So the easy decision for me at that moment is like, I follow my temper, of course, right? That's the easy decision. I throw whatever, right? Umbrella, smash it on the floor and say that, right? Doing things like that. You can imagine what happened, right? I can say something, really follow my emotion at this moment, like, let's separate, let's do something. Let's If it's so hard, our life together, the easy solution, like separate. You understand what I mean, right? So when that happens, when I say something out of the steam of my emotion, the steam of upset, even later on, I apologize to my wife. Sorry, I was so emotional. Would you please forgive me? Something like that. Even you apologize, I apologize, right? But that residue of smashing a banner to the floor and tearing up some furniture, or kick your dog, something like that, not recommended, right? Just easy decision, follow your emotion at that moment. The basically reactive things, right? You react, lash out your emotion, your anger, your upset, whatever. You speak something, something you really feel stupid or you really regret later on. That kind of thing is so easy, right? You agree? But that kind of thing basically will come back to bite you, to destroy your reputation, my reputation, in the mind of my wife, right? That kind of thing will create such a great sense of insecurity in her heart, in her mind, so that she no longer want to trust me. She no longer want to rely on me, on anything significant. So this would be the result. So easy decision at the moment will create a harder life. 1 week down to the low, 1 month down to the low, 1 year down to the low, decades down to the low. I don't know about you. That's my real life experience. Again, not this example, but many situations. If I follow my temper, if I follow my human corrupted nature, right, to do something really easy, I feel, ooh, 真爽, right? It's really easy to lash out the anger, lash out the upset. It's easy, really easy. If I mess up something in my work, I say, okay, gone, right? Bye-bye. Let me find another job. Right? If I do something like that, guess what? This kind of easy decision, at least for me, no exception, later on get back to bite me. Later on, I need to pay for the price that for the easy decision I make at that moment. Return is much harder, a big mess I need to clean up later on in life. So I don't know about you, because like probably right here is some family and friends are just listening to me. So I don't know about you, but that's very real. That happens almost every time. If it doesn't happen sometime, it's because that person or that organization is extremely forgiving. It's extremely forgiving. Then that doesn't get back to me right away, or a week later, a month later. So that's my observation. So I'm supposed to make harder decision in the time of difficulty, in the time of pressure, in the time of challenge, right? How do I do that? On one end, I'm not competing anymore. On the other end, I want to be really relaxed and easy to myself, right? Without a clear goal, without a big goal, without a whatever, right? So it's not easy to reach the so-called sweet spot. That's what I find out. When you have big ambition, big goal, you basically hold a very high standard on yourself. The good thing, the pro, is you're working hard, right? You're being more easily focused. You are being more easily, more consistent. You are being less flexible, of course, right? In that situation, like if something randomly happens, you just say, oh, you are in my way, I kick you out, right? Let me finish my goal first. So you're easily get into that kind of mentality. The good thing is good focus, probably pretty good consistent. The bad thing is you are not very flexible. You are probably not very creative. I would say. Not flexible, creativity decrease, right? Also, you are probably easily get upset about yourself and the people around you. Agree, right? Because you have high demand on yourself. Easily you will fail. Easily you will fall off you are like trying to work on like a string of iron, right? You want to steel string. You want to work on the string, right? That's very dangerous, right? As long as you don't pay attention, you fall off to whatever high you were, right? To the ground. The gravity always do the work very well. And so you can see that you are always nervous. You're always nervous and also have high demand on the people. You are being very critical easily, right, to the people around you. You are the toughest person in the whole wide world. Using my son's language, you are the toughest person in the whole wide world to get around with. And you look at yourself. I'm the toughest person in the world to get around with. I don't even like myself, right? I don't even satisfy with myself. How can I easily get around with other people? So this is one, the symptoms. If you have a big goal, very big ambitions, very big goal, you tend to have the tendency or the propensity doing this, right? Doing that kind of stuff. On the other hand, if you are extremely laid back, extremely goalless, purposeless in life, it doesn't mean that you are living in heaven. Heaven is not like that, by the way. You are easily living in this place that everybody's decision will shift your direction to whatever they want, right? You're no longer working for big exciting goals, so that a lot of random walk, basically random walk, right? Say somebody asks you, hey Paul, go for a party. I say, okay, let me go. I will not calculate, what is the ROI of that activity. Of course, a lot of party is a good party, right? But some of the party get you into trouble, right? You drink excessively, you take those illegal substance, and then next day you will wake up. Oh, where I am? Oh, right now it's already 12 p.m. right? I wake up at 12 p.m. Oh my goodness, half day is gone, right? And actually, if you have a headache, like the whole day is gone, something like that, right? You tend to will get into this kind of trouble, that kind of a random walk in life. And like say 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you're working, right? You are working hard. You are still being a kind of good old guy, right? Working on your job, taking care of your family, and it ended up repeating your life pretty good, right? Pretty stable. But when you look back, oh my goodness, I'm already 30, I'm already 40, I'm already 50, I'm already 60. I'm getting retired, right? What do I do in my life? I started to, have some kind of regret. I'm supposed to take that risk, but I didn't. I'm supposed to push, get through some good education so that I can operating on another level, right? I didn't, because I didn't have that goal. I didn't have that purpose. I'm supposed to be more, more firm on my value when some battle is coming up. I'm not talking about physical battle. I'm talking about, like, say you believe in love, right? But somebody really mess up really big, right, against your value. Then you say that, okay, because I want to be quiet, I want to be not confrontational, I retreat from that battle, right? So easily, when you don't have a clear goal, big and exciting enough, very natural, you tend to not to perform at your, at your full potential. Isn't that a fact? I went through that period of time for a long time, right? So I go through these two streams: extremely competitive, extremely non-competitive, and somewhere middle between, right? And so I find out that both of the situation is not the best. Neither are the best. Neither. When you're very competitive, your stomach always stand up, right? You feel that, oh my goodness, so much stress, right? When you are on another end, you are totally goalless, very totally laid back. I'm not talking about personality here. I'm talking about, in how you vision yourself, how you see yourself. When you're on the other end, you say that, I'm not sure this is life. I'm on the earth just for one time, right? I will not come back to this earth as, after this 60, 70, 80 years, right? Do I use my life really well in this life? So you have this like a big question, big suspicion, right? And you question yourself, basically. When you look at Joe, when you look at John, when you look at Alex, it seems that they are, growing with me the same time. We go to the same kindergarten, we go to the same high school, middle school, and college, graduate school, company. Wow, they achieve something really I admire, right? So if you don't have a goal, basically you will end up compare yourself again at the later stage of life. And even as I mentioned, make a lot of easy decision for yourself, which end up biting yourself. So what is the best place to be? I have been basically laying down this context for too long. Let me cut it short. Okay, let me cut it short. So in love context, I think that you can relate it to what I'm talking about. So let me talk about the purpose of this talk. When I talk about purpose, is what kind of a result we want to achieve today. So by the end of this talk, hopefully you don't leave right now, like this is the end already. By the end of this talk, what I want you to see that there's a much better way, much simpler way. On one hand, you have big and exciting goal laying in front of you, pulling you forward. You don't need to push yourself, right? You remember what I say? If you push yourself too hard, you basically pooping everywhere, right? Metaphorically, not in physical. You will just too much. I don't want that, right? I want you to see that there's a better way, that when you have this big and exciting goal, these big and exciting things pulling the current you forward, not push you forward, pulling you forward automatically. You wake up with excitement. You wake up with a motivation, want to implement that. Right? On the other hand, you have extreme, very good peace about yourself. You don't criticize yourself anymore. You're not comparing you all the time with Elon Musk, with Donald Trump, or Joe Biden, or whoever, right? Albert Einstein, all the time. You're not comparing with yourself, with those outstanding people anymore. The only people you want to compete is just your past self. Your, say, Paul, right? The 3 months older Paul, the 3 months younger Paul. I'm competing with that Paul. I'm not competing with Michael Phelps anymore. I'm not competing with Elon Musk anymore. I compare with my past Paul. Hey, that's fun, right? I have a reference. I know that Paul pretty well. So that Paul couldn't deal with a very intense conflict with his spouse in the past. But right now, I'm beating the past Paul really well. I can do that. Right now, I can easily handle a stressful situation with my significant one, like let's say in this way. And that's fun, right? That's really joyful. So my stomach no longer stand up all the time, right? And also, it helped me to make hard decisions at this present, because I see there's a much bigger, much better future Paul in front of me. I see that Paul actually, to me, I don't know about you. Obviously, I don't know about you. To me, let me just give you a very realistic example. What I see myself, 12 years later, I see myself, it's very profound, prepare for that, standing beside Jesus in the heavenly places, or sitting down, right, comfortably on his right hand side. In the Bible, Jesus is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, right? And 12 years later, I see myself actually sitting on his right hand side as one of the king, one of the Lord, and governing whatever, like big city or big nation by then. Wow, my light, my body is full of light. The love, the light, the life is flowing out from my body. That's how I see myself. I would be extremely kind, like 12 times more kind than I am right now, right? I will be extremely loving, right? God is love, right? If I'm sitting beside him, I got to be, loving enough, right? Have that capacity. I would be extremely loving. I would be extremely big thinking, right? I don't worry about like I'm being fired because of this rejection, or I lost my job because of rejection, right? I see that when I'm firing from, or when I lost my job, not fired, not being fired. I'm not talking about my real situation. My job is extremely great. I'm very thankful and grateful about that. Say I lost my job for a reason, right? I don't worry about the economy situation because I know that I am so resourceful. I probably can recreate a new industry, right? 12 years when I was sitting on the right hand side of Jesus, I would have that kind of big mentality. At the same time, I would be extremely skillful, right? And I have been, putting a lot of time learning the advanced machine learning, AI, data science, quantum computing stuff, right? But by then, compared with what I am right now, I probably am the what's the biggest achievement possible on this earth? The member of the National Academy of Science and Arts. I could be as smart as that, right? I could be the member at the same time, the member of the National Academy of Engineering, or the National Academy of Medicine, right? Oh, 3 membership. Wow, that's extremely smart, right? I would be as skillful as a person like that. Many years later, I just use 12, right, as a number, so that I can have a sense of time, right? If I say that this is 120 years later, I will basically lay back. Oh, I don't need to do anything, right? But 12 years is not enough. I can do something, working toward that direction. Say I could as skillful as knowledgeable as capable as this, like a 3 National Academy membership, the most prestigious in academy, right? In academic, I could be the founder of say, if I'm sitting in the right hand side of Jesus, what would be it look like? Probably the founder or co-founder of a 10 to the 4 unicorn company, right? How does it sound, right? Obviously, it's much bigger than who Elon Musk is, right? So I think you get the point, right? My future in 12 years, or my future in eternity, if you want to, right? Is so big, is so glorious, is so loving, is so in peace, so much peace, because like Jesus is the Prince of Peace, right? I don't worry about my stomach standing up all the time anymore, and because I have the peace of the Lord inside me, right? So it's so peaceful. I'm heading toward that direction. So it is big and exciting enough. At the same time, because I'm so loving, so peaceful, so capable to handle different kind of like emotional situation, stressful demand, from whoever, like from my coworker, from whoever, the job, right? I'm working on. Then all of a sudden, I have so many things to walk around things. I have extremely focused because I know where I'm heading to, right? I have extremely focused. Second thing, I will have a great amount of consistency, right? Because that goal is so attractive to me. So it will pull myself forward every day, even every hour, every minute. Even I'm talking with you, right? I'm communicating with you. I was pulling forward by that very attractive goal, right? So it solved the problem of distraction. It solved the problem of motivation. It solved the problem even inflexibility. Why is that? Because right, I'm so resourceful. I will be so resourceful. I will be so creative. I have so much knowledge, wisdom, right? So why worry about being stuck by this technical problem or that relational turmoil, right? You see that? If that's real to you, if that future is that real to you, then you say that yes, theoretically it is correct, right? You'll be focused, you'll be consistent, you'll be extremely flexible, extremely creative. All together, right? All these features I dream about or you dream about become very tangible. Isn't that true? Probably you argue with me, right? You talk about very theoretical stuff, right? That's not real to me. And I don't even know Jesus exists, right? And you talk about you're sitting on the right hand side of the King of Kings, Lord of Lord, and that's unrelatable. I cannot repeat your experience, isn't it? Right? Very right. That's my personal, like I'm showing you my personal mental image. I'm basically open up my mind, right? Let you to see into what I'm thinking, why I am feeling, why I am thinking, why I am imagining, why I'm executing in that way, because I have this very clear, very strong, pretty much I'm very convicted image, mental image in my mind. That is the 12x future Paul. That's where I'm heading to. So right now, the difficulty, the challenge, continue as usual, right? The relational turmoil, probably, right? Continue as usual. But I have total confidence. I have total peace. I have total joy to go through it because I see the purpose of the difficulty I go through in real life. No matter it's financial difficulty or relational difficulty or intellectually difficulty, right? Go through it in life. It is basically a stress test. It's basically a training class for me to become better so that I can really make my 12x future more real, right? Everything I go through in life is basically a training course. It's basically a training program decided by my Lord, my God, right? To me to go through. So I have total joy to go through it. I'm not avoiding a difficult situation, say imaginary, right? My difficult situation with say I have a big struggle, big fight with my spouse, right? My wife. And I will not avoid it anymore. I will see that this is actually this is the perfect opportunity to become more the 12x future Paul like, or more Jesus like, right? Isn't that true, right? So I'm not avoiding it. If I avoid it, I make an easy decision. It ended up a day later, a week later, a year later, that kind of thing come back to me again. I haven't passed the exam, so that you have to go through the material, go through the training, go through the exam again, the stress test again, right? So I would, because I have that clear goal, I would not be that stupid, right? To let go the challenge I was in, let go the difficulty I'm put into, or I create myself, right? I will not let go that opportunity. That is the perfect occasion I can become the 12x future Paul. I can become the 12x eternal Paul, right? When I see myself in the eternity, will be low like that, right? So I will not let go any of this opportunity, but use that opportunity to examine myself, to see, am I really, like I say that I'm loving, right? And when I'm put into that kind of a emotional, stressful situation, am I really loving? Without that stress test, I really don't know. I'm a data scientist. Again, I pull out a little bit data scientist before you. In data science, every model is wrong. Some are useful, sometimes. If you are a good data scientist, you ask yourself a question. In what kind of situation my model is working? In what kind of situation my model is not working? Why is that? You ask yourself this question, right? If you are even a better data scientist, you say that, okay, let me make this model and that model working all together. I do the model ensemble, right? This model, A model, is strong in situation A. B model is very good in dealing with the situation in situation B, right? So AB is not overlapping, obviously, right? So can I combine this AB model so that the ensemble model can deal with the situation of both A and B? So this is the fun thing of data scientists doing, right? The same thing, it happened in real life. If you think that I'm already mature in certain area, like say A, dealing with the stressful relational situation, right? And I'm really spiritual, right? If you think that, okay, this is I identify myself as a mature person relationally or spiritually, this is your mental model. This is your mental model. I'm not trying to destroy your mental model at all. You should do it by yourself. So you should, when you get into a stressful relational situation, like you have a heated debate with your spouse, you have a heated debate with your boss, right, in work, you have a heated debate with a stranger on the street, right? In that kind of situation, you get into that kind of situation, it is a perfect occasion. You stress test how you see yourself, your mental model. If you perform really well, right, your mental model perform really well, then it means that your mental model basically has certain degree of truth in it, right? It reflects the real situation. But if you mess up every time using your mental model, say, I'm really mature in spiritually or relationally, but when you are put into that kind of situation you cannot handle, you got to question, I need to improve my model. I need to seek the truth. I need to seek the truth to improve my model. You don't like erase the data and say that I'm the truth, right? I'm already attained the truth. And obviously you mess up in that situation, right? And then if you say that that's not really important, let me switch my attention to something else. You're not being a good data scientist in your life. You're wasting a huge part of your life experience, which is the real data, right? And you probably, would not live your ideal future. You will not attain your ideal future. You say that, okay, 10 years later, 20 years later, I will really mature in relationship, in loving people. If you waste that situation, waste that kind of data in your life, large percentage, you're making easy decision right now. You're getting yourself into bigger trouble later on in life because you haven't passed the exam, right? Very simple. So whether it's in data science or in real life, we got to compare how our model work. My model have the predictive power, but if that prediction doesn't line up with the reality, you have a big gap between them. What you're supposed to do as a good data scientist is to modify your model or even throw it out of window, right? Rebuild it. Or you are a better data scientist. You do some model ensemble, learn from other people. What is their effective mental model so that I can combine mine, so that I can deal with that real life situation? Isn't that true, right? If you are a believer of the Bible, you will say that, oh, that's renewing my mind, right? That's what Apostle Paul talk about, renewing my mind. That's what the Bible talk about, right? Repentance. That's repentance. Repentance means that it's not like crying over the spirit meal, or being really hard on yourself. I'm such a stupid person. I make that mistake. Right? Nothing to do with this. Remorse is an important step in repentance, but rewiring your brain is extremely important. Another element in repentance. Probably not many people, not many pastors preaching about that. Right? Rewiring your mental model is extremely important in repentance. If you repent, just say that, oh, I repent. That's very surface level. Even your emotion, go with that direction. You say, I'm so bad. I was so mean to you. I was so stupid making this decision. Yeah, you remorse. That's good step. I'm not saying that that's bad, right? So you need to rewire your mind, renew your mind, basically. Until your future behavior, when you act on your mental model, really can solve the problem. Your prediction has extremely high consistency with the real result you get. That's what I'm talking about, right? From the data science perspective, it's true. From the real life growing perspective, it is also true, right? So what I'm talking about, data science today, not to confuse you here. I'm still talking about the result, right? When you see the big result is coming to you by the end of this talk, hope that you are still here, you will have the clear understanding. You can have a big and exciting future that pull you forward, pull your current self forward. You will have a 12x future Alex. You will have the 12x future Alice. You have the 12x future Bob. You will have the 12x future Bobby, right? Whatever your name is, you put your name onto it. That will pull the current Alex, current Bob, current Alice, current Paul forward, so that you have consistency, you have focus. Also, you have flexibility. You have the creativity to make that thing happen. How good it is? Isn't that good? So this is one objective I have. The second objective I have is do some exercise, right? Enough theory. Do some exercise. Demonstrate it. Then I can believe in you, right? By the way, let me just a little bit disclaimer. I give this talk not representing my company, either my current company or my former company, not even the school I went through. Right, I graduated from this little engineering school called Georgia Tech. I do not represent them. I just represent myself. So who are you? So professionally, I'm a principal data scientist working for a biotech company. I got my PhD, from Georgia Tech, this school. And I went to Yale for 3 years doing computational immunology research. Right, that's my professional background. Let's put it away, put it down. You don't need to trust me because of my profession. So who are you? Who are you? Well, to be honest, today I just be myself. Right, I feel very comfortable to. The most comfortable situation I put myself in is on a street situation. I'm a street kid. I'm telling you, I'm a street kid, roaming around in the street. Yeah, there are a couple of things I like. One is free pizza or free banana, free food. Right. Another situation I like is free party. People just being happy and dancing and singing and having some so-called happy liquid, right? Milk. And occasionally they have some pretty intense encounter. They have their spot on the street fighting. That's what I like. To be honest, I don't do street fighting anymore. When I'm a half younger, when I was in school, I mean basically in college, I get myself into just a little bit, reveal my history. Probably over 8 to 10 street fighting for no reason. I'm not getting into an argument with anybody, but somebody just picked me and they say that, hey, I hear that you are pretty good on this thing. Let me test you. I say, are you sure? He said, yes, let's do it. And I say, okay, not hitting the back of your head. Don't kick my pee-pee. That's the only two places. Then we settle down the ground rule. Then we start to fight on the street or in the gym or wherever I am. I get into that kind of trouble when I am, half of my age. But in the last 20 years, I haven't get into that situation anymore. So what I'm talking about street fighting is basically like very intense encounter, and either by debating or whatever, right? And I have fun actually, even physical, sparring, I have fun. Not for the sake of revenging, not for the sake of hating other people, nothing to do with this. And because personality wise, I like that kind of intensity. I like that kind of like, if we are not intense enough, if you say that, okay, let's do a sparring, and you're not intense enough, I think that you're not that interesting. You're not that interesting. Only you are intense enough, I'm willing to, spend some time to have fun with you. That's my personality. So I'm that kind of street kid. You can think about, oh, that guy is a little bit crazy. Yes, it is. Unfortunately, the day you're watching, you're already spending like almost an hour listen to this crazy guy talking about this kind of stuff. So I want a real encounter. I'm not doing something like put the makeup onto your face and or you pretend to be the kung fu guru, like you just practice by yourself doing performance on the stage. But whenever you go through a real encounter with somebody who is really skillful, really intense, really strong, right? 30 pounds, 40 pounds heavier than you. Can you handle that? That's why I like intense encounter. I truly like it. I want to test how. I think I'm pretty good in martial art, but if I haven't put myself into that kind of situation, I really don't know what I'm talking about. That's why the reason I'm telling you a little bit reason why I like that kind of intense encounter. For the sake of my sanity, right? Otherwise, I would say that I'm the Bruce Lee, the second Bruce Lee. I'm the third version of Bruce Lee, right? Then I don't know what I'm talking about. Until I get into an intense encounter, then I know whether I am 1/10 of Bruce Lee or I'm 10x Bruce Lee, right? Very, very quickly, within 3 minutes, you find out. Okay, enough commercial here. So I'm that person, right? Just being random, being fun, being intense sometimes. And you can, so how can I trust you, right? We are already hearing you blah, blah, blah for an hour. How can we trust you? Not from my professional, not from my street kid experience, but for this. My purpose of this talk is everything I lay out before you. You don't need to trust me anything. You just need to put yourself into that experience, put yourself into that experimentation. Then probably right away, you will see whether it is effective or not. So all the time, stress test, put yourself into that experiment, into that experience to test it, whether what I say is true or is pure random line, right? Always stress test. I invite you from upfront, always stress test what I say. Always stress test my opinion. That fair, right? Pretty fair, right? You don't need to trust me. Obviously, you don't know me. So this is one disclaimer. Second disclaimer is what will it be? Here, in case you are fighting with depression, or you are trying to become like 10 times stronger or more successful, right? I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a fake doctor. I cannot write this prescription for anybody. I'm a doctor in science and engineering, so I cannot do that kind of thing for you. So if you still have like struggling with depression, I don't dissuade you to see the true doctor, medical doctor. I don't want to dissuade you to go to the counseling, right? They are helpful in some sense. What I am telling you is basically my own experience, my own observation, my own reflection. Is very partial, very biased, obviously, right? Very, very biased, very, very partial. It doesn't represent the whole data space. So that's why I invite you to do the stress test first, right? But also remember, create some data point for yourself. It means that you need to put yourself through that process to understand what is working, what is not working. You need to put Paul's opinion into, take yourself as a guinea pig, right? Today, easily put, right? Put yourself as a guinea pig to test whether he is talking is right or wrong. Why is right? Why is wrong, right? Why is fitting my need? Why is not fitting my need? You need to figure it out by yourself. So, to be honest, you are 100% responsible for the result coming out of this talk. You are 100% responsible, not me. I'm just a street kid, like trying to show you how to do free learning, how to do street fighting, right? The rest is in your shoulder. On your shoulder is how you interpret it, up to you. How you apply it, up to you. Not my business. I hope that you have a fun time. Okay, so the baseline. So the best result is everything I say here, you experience it, you do experiment on yourself, and you have the true understanding. Why that kind of thing I'm talking about is helping me, it's helping some of my friends, as I already see, to defeat depression, year-long depression in days. And also 10x, 12x, their consistency, their productivity, their flexibility, their focus. They can achieve the result instead of 12 years, 12 months. Instead of 12 months, 12 days. So I want you to basically test whether it is real, whether it is possible by yourself. Through this, what I call the sea of love, right? Sea of love. I will lay it out pretty sure. Very simple, very easy. You can test it. So I want to make it true. True to me is very simple, executable, experienceable, right? That's the E, the last letter of true. The second to the last letter is totally makes sense. Makes sense to your mind, not recommended at this point. Makes sense to your ear, makes sense to your taste buds, makes sense to your physical body, makes sense to your emotion, makes sense to your whatever, right? Totally makes sense to you. The R is reproducible. If it's not reproducible, you can call it miracle or you can call it magic, right? I'm a scientist. I'm not in that kind of stuff. Although I'm a believer of Jesus, because to God, there's no miracle. To man, everything you are not familiar with, you don't have a theoretical framework to explain it. They are miracle, right? But to God, there's no miracle. He understands exactly what he's doing, why he do it, how he do it, when he do it, who he would do it through. He understands perfectly. So to God, there's no miracle. To me, because I'm standing at the right-hand side of Jesus, right? To me, there's no miracle. I tend to turn every miracle into an engineering project. That's who I am, right? So I invite you to do so too. So it should be reproducible. If it's not reproducible, it means that we don't understand it really well. That's how I frame it. You're still pushing it into a mysterious realm, right? You're not that close to God. In the other way, you're not that close to God. Everything you are a miracle. You're right. If you are getting closer and closer to God, more and more this miracle become an engineering project. That's the fun thing. Okay. Okay, what's T? T is a transferable. It means that when you learn this principle, you can transfer it from dealing with personal relationship to learning quantum physics, to be honest. If you learn it really well, you understand the principle, you can transfer that technique from learning quantum physics to playing soccer. When you understand that principle really well, you can transfer that skill set, that understanding, that principle from playing soccer to play martial art. Wow, that's amazing, right? That's a great deal. To me, like, let me tell you a funny story. A couple years ago, I was invited to play a soccer game with about 4 or 5 kids. I don't remember exactly. My team was another adult who exhausted herself out because playing with this kid from 8 to 17 to 18 year old, right? Those are young kids. The other team, the team I was grabbing was 2 adults in their 40s. So obviously, the other team was very, some of the kids are very, very skillful, very, very energetic, right? So the 2 adults basically exhausted. To me, I never played, I played soccer for twice in my life. One time is when I was in elementary school. The other time was probably when I was dating with my fiance and now wife. Probably that's 2 times I played soccer. So it means that I'm really lucky. A couple of days ago, I asked a soccer player, a professional soccer player. I said, "Is that like 5 people in one team?" He said, "No, that's 11 people in one team." So that's my knowledge about soccer. You can see that. Anyway, guess what? Because of the transfer learning technique is operating in me, within about 15 minutes, I scored 5 goals. Isn't that crazy? I scored 5 goals. And the people said, "Whoa, Paul, you are a genius. You're probably the next, what is the most soccer star." I don't even know their name. That's how lucky I am. And you're the next of this superstar. I was in, by no way, this is my 3rd time, probably the 4th time I play soccer, in a competitive way. And how do you do that? I say, very, very easy. I use the technique I developed in martial art. I just basically borrow it and do it in soccer. So today, by the end of this talk, I hope that you can have that kind of flexibility and skillfulness to transfer what we learned in this talk to your quantum physics, to your quantum computing, to your relational dealing with your spouse or your boss, that kind of thing. Okay. Transfer learning. So that's why I call it true knowledge. And you can adapt that knowledge you learn today to your own situation. Adapt means that you can use analogy, liken your experience today to another situation. You can use example to explain it. You can draw a diagram, right, to explain it, to visualize it. You can use example to apply it, right, to apply this principle. You can also use plain language. If you speak Chinese, use plain Chinese. If you speak English, use plain English to explain it to a person who had never get into this field. If you're technical, you can use technical abstraction or technical generalization, right, to build another mental model, right? Anyway, so this is my objective. You will adapt the true knowledge you experience to apply it in your life, to create more amazing knowledge. Okay, is that fair? Okay, I try to deliver the result in about 20 minutes if I want to finish the talk at 9:30. Okay, I'm still eating my thing now. Some nuts, some banana. Obviously, I'm not that stressful about. I can be the next Donald Trump or the next Joe Biden or the next Elon Musk, right? I care less how other people see me. You see me as stupid, you see me as a junior, it doesn't bother me at all. So today I'm just being the street kid, being the current Paul and the 12x Paul all together. So let me explain. Let me start with something. Let me invite you into an experience. How to deal with a tough person like you. I'm pretty tough, to be honest. I'm pretty tough to myself. So I'm not an easy person to get around with. So let me demonstrate how I get around with myself. I'm not going to have a street fight with you. I'm just getting hot. I'm getting hot so that I'm getting just a little bit hot. So I put down my stuff. Okay. All right. How do I accept myself? Suppose I'm still like 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I'm still very demanding on myself, right? How do I accept a person, a very hard, a very, very driven, a very, very ambitious person, doesn't have much room for other people? You know, if you ask me a question within 10 seconds, I don't understand it, I say next person. I would be that kind of pushing, right? Very pushy, very, very self-driven. So how can I say today I didn't perform really well, right? I messed up something. I didn't perform up to my own standard. How do I accept myself? Let me give you an acronym first. It's called RAISE. RAISE. Let me explain it. RAISE. RAISE means that receive without resistance. So if somebody put a banana onto my hand, I receive without resistance. In the past, the opposite is like that. Oh my goodness, is that banana has COVID on it? Or is this banana have been eaten by a dog? Right? You drop it, right? That's a receive with resistance. That's the result. The difference is I receive without resistance. Okay? So whoever you are, whoever I am, I just receive myself without resistance. I no longer say that, Paul, today you mess up. I cannot accept you. I say, Paul, although you mess up, I can still receive you. I like you. I receive you anyway. I receive you anyway as wherever you are, as who you see yourself is. I receive you. As inefficient, as stupid, as whatever you used to label yourself, right? I receive my current me. You need to receive it. Receive without resistance. Okay, good enough. A is accept with appreciation. Oh yeah, this banana, wow, still smells so good. It's ripe, right? It's ripe. So tasty. Brenda, you are truly amazing. You smell so good. Wow, it just make my body just so relaxed when I smell the banana. When I eat it, so sweet, so tender, so soft. I really show appreciation. I receive that banana. The same thing for myself. I say, Paul, Yeah, today, even though you didn't finish what you plan to do, but you already make the best effort. You are really showing a lot of credibility to yourself, right? You make the effort. You're taking the initiative. Thank you, right? You accept with appreciation, whatever that person it is, right? I'm using myself as an example, obviously. Paul, today you didn't finish the XYZ you planned to, but you are making a good effort. You are started heading out, right? Just affirm that the good things that person is doing, affirm the good nature that person it is, right? Has. Okay, the next letter, I. Interpret with good intention. You can interpret the things with 100 different ways, right? Some are negative, some are positive, some are extremely negative, some are extremely positive. So when you interpret that person with the good intention, you are actually discovering the diamond in that dust. You are looking at the diamond, you are looking at the dust about that person. Guess what? When you interpret things from that angle, you are drawing that diamond out. You are picking that diamond out of that dust. Do you see that? Because you are paying attention to it. What you pay attention to, it will magnify. What you pay attention to, it will be getting bigger. That's it, right? So I see that, hey, Paul, use this brand as like interpret. It's half eaten because somebody ate it ahead of me. Oh, my dog ate it. Oh, wow, that's good for my dog, right? My dog becoming healthier, and she is more satisfied tonight when she go to bed. She's there. Let me show you. Bella, did you eat my banana? Bella, come here. Bella, whoop, whoop. Okay, anyway, I wake her up. So I'm just showing a demonstration, right? You interpret with good intention, not being critical, right? If you're being critical, being negative, you are ignoring the diamond, you're picking up the dust. Isn't that true? So you interpret that accident, that situation with good intention. It's like you are seeing yourself as a, I see myself as my three-year-old David, right? My son. And when he present a drawing to me, I do not say that, oh my goodness, what a big mess you are creating in a piece of paper, right? I never say that. I would say that, oh my goodness, so creative, so amazing. Daddy is so happy to see that you create that art for me. You are such a genius. So I interpret from such a kindness, loving perspective. Does it make a difference? Huge difference, right? If you speak this kind of word to your son always come back to you. He like you, right? He like to hear that. And between you and him, it's always happiness, right? It's always encouragement, always something amazing. Guess what? When you continue talking about this way to your son, to your spouse, to yourself, to your boss, to your colleague, basically they're heading toward that direction. They are becoming the genius in drawing. They are becoming the genius in engineering. They are becoming the genius, you are picking up the diamond out of their dust. Even you see the dust, right? You are picking up the diamond. You're magnifying the diamond. The diamond actually is growing bigger and bigger, shiny, more and more shiny, right? Isn't that true? So you interpret with good intention to yourself, to the people around you, to the tough subject you are studying. Wow, all of a sudden, such great affinity between you and that person, right? Between you and that subject, between you and yourself. You started to like yourself. Oh my goodness, my body just feel extremely relaxed when I hear that. Oh, Paul, you are such a generous person. Today, you even accept this half-eaten banana after my dog ate it. So you interpret with good intention, not the bad one. X that out. Okay, that's I. R-A-I. S. What's S? I forgot. Let me take a look at my note. What's S? I create this kind of like an acronym this morning, actually, to be honest. So I didn't spend like a couple days to work on it. Just this morning, I'm walking my dog down to the down to a church nearby. Just this idea, I was having a conversation with Jesus, with my heavenly Father. Then this thing just pop up on my mind. I said, "What is this?" Then I come up with this acronym. So just tell you a little back end story. Okay, S represents sympathize. Then you can synchronize. Sympathize. What is sympathy? Sympathy is actually very simple. You don't need to agree. Say, let me just use my spouse as an example, right? If I have a big argument with my spouse, again, that's a hypothetical situation. In reality, she's extremely kind, extremely forgiving, extremely, obeying, extremely. She's not in that kind of situation. I'm just using her because she is secure enough. I can use her as an example right now, just for the sake of demonstration. Okay, so say if I have a intense argument with my spouse, with my wife, and so she say that she basically have her own story, has her own very intense emotion, with her own of reasoning, right? So in that situation, how to apply sympathy? It's actually very simple. Sympathy is not about me, how I see how things happen. It's not about me saying this is reasonable, that is not reasonable. It's not about me. It's not about me say that what's wrong with you? Like why you're fearful? Why you are stressful? Why you are not happy? Right? Because I'm happy. I have peace. Right? Why you having this kind of strange feeling? Sympathy is nothing about with yourself. Not is everything about the person who has an intense moment with you. It's everything with that. So it would look like this. Let me show sympathy. Like, hey, wife, tell me about your story. What's your experience? What you see as a fact, right? When you get into a big trouble, a big fight with Paul, right? What is a fact to you? What do you experience? What do you hear? What do you see? I want to hear your side of the story. That's sympathy, right? Accepting the other person's side of the story, nothing about my side of the story. Even saying that you think that, oh, you see it wrong, you see it so partial, you're so biased, right? You see it through your telescope, you see it through your microscope. Don't say that, right? You just say that, what do you see? What's your side of the story? First step, sympathy. Second step of sympathy is, it's really hard, isn't it? Right? You tell your spouse or tell the one who you have conflict with. It's really hard, right? It's not an easy situation you're dealing with. So you show sympathy by validate her emotion, her feeling. Even that emotion and feeling is not your feeling. It's the opposite of your feeling. It doesn't matter, right? Your feeling, it doesn't matter. But her feeling, her emotion matter everywhere, right? So the second step, you validate her emotion. And you also validate her reasoning, right? Say, Dot, you say that this morning I didn't feed the dog before 7 o'clock. The dog will be so hungry, and so he started chewing the sofa. If that's her reasoning, I'm just make it up on the spot, right? Then I would say, oh, that's pretty much, that's reasonable. It makes sense to me. I get your point, right? So you validate her reasoning, you don't need to agree. You don't need to agree with her side of the story. You don't need to agree with her side of reasoning. You don't need to agree with her side of emotion, but you just validate it, showing that you care, you pay attention to, you understand, right? That's all the things about behind how sympathy work. Because to me, as a data scientist, a person's behavior basically is a function of somebody's side of the story, her side of the reasoning, her side of the emotion under certain context. It's a function. You can basically map those three things under the context into a result. You can be very, very predictive to figure out how she or how he responds, how she and how he acts. Right? That's my mental model. And if you are more advanced data scientist, you will create a probability model, right? The probability given this context with the emotion, his view of the story, his view of the reasoning, 75% will produce anger, 20% will produce apathy, 5% is producing joy. You can create a probability model like this. Again, I'm just being kind of silly, doing data science in front of you. But anyway, I think you get the point, right? So showing sympathy, when you show sympathy to yourself, when you show sympathy, say, hey, Paul, I really understand that you are really self-driven. You are really working hard. Good job. And when you make that effort, you are already 85% successful. You are being frustrated at yourself. That's normal, right? Take it easy. That's normal. I'm showing sympathy to myself if I'm still very, very tough, right? The same thing, you show sympathy to your wife, your spouse, you show sympathy to your boss. Understand his situation, the pressure he's dealing with, then you truly can show sympathy to your boss, right? He's basically, have 10 times of workload on his shoulder. He need to deliver on time. Not you, a little engineer, right? Just need to deal with the Python code. You're done with your work, right? He's like carrying 10 type of role. He's need to present to the CXO, CDO, CVO, CYO, right? Whoever. And so you can really show sympathy to your colleague, to your boss in that kind of situation. Why he is being so intense, right? And just show you some example. So when you show sympathy, you started to dance with her, dance with him, dance with your boss, dance with your advisor. You started to synchronize with him. You're not jumping buckhead all the time, right? When he buckhead, you do this, right? You're starting dancing. You're starting like a swinging with him, doing like stand dance, a swing dance, right? With your spouse or with your boss, with whoever, with yourself. Hey, that's really fun, right? This creates some so-called circulation on your body, right? You feel really good. Ooh, wow. I'm feeling my blood flow is really getting flowing really well, right? I don't feel like being so tense on my shoulder, things like that. When you can sympathize, you can synchronize. Good, right? Okay, the last letter is E. Okay, by the end of the day, you want to evaluate the situation, right? So when you want to evaluate, don't say that, usually I'm doing that. Okay, today this is really good. This is going really well, right? And that is not doing that well. And then that's what I am supposed to improve, right? I basically ask myself 3 questions. That's great. But what I want to emphasize here, the race, actually, when you evaluate, you try to exalt your strengths, exalt your goodness, exalt something you are doing really good. You want to put 90% of your attention on that perspective. Then you can fix the little gap here and there, right? Is that fair? So when I evaluate the situation today, how is what's going on with my delivery on this talk? Right now, I overuse my time already. I say, oh, good thing is like, it's really funny, right? This talk is not like a seminar, and I have the PowerPoint and tell you a lot of abstract theory. Oh, that's really approachable, really understandable. That's your strength, Paul. That's your good things, Paul, right? Although my shocks scattering all around, I know that, right? I didn't deliver the so-called main 3 points within the first 15 minutes. So that's next time, not a big deal. So I exhaust that. I evaluate myself to magnify, to exalt my strengths. I evaluate the other person, say my imaginary situation. I have a big fight with my wife, right? I think that, hey, my wife is being really concerned about the dog because she care about the dog. So that's why she being so adamant for me to feed the dog before 7 a.m., like something like that. That's her strength. You exalt that, you evaluate for the sake of exalt her strength. You evaluate for the sake of to exalt your strength. You evaluate the subject you're working, say the work you are working, you feel pretty hard, right? You feel pretty unmotivated. You evaluate yourself, you evaluate the job for the sake of exalt the strength, the benefit, the virtue of that job. Get it? So raise. If you want to raise your emotion, your thinking, your imagination, your speaking, your execution to another level, use raise. R-A-I-S-E. Is that simple, right? Raise. So I think that I deliver it. Right? You can study to like yourself. You can study to like your spouse. You can study to like your boss. You can study to like the subject you are studying. You can study to like the work you used to dislike, you used to have a hard time, right? Use raise. That's your decision. That decision actually is in your hand. Nobody can do it for you except you. That's the beauty of it, right? You are in full control of it. You are the designer and the driver of your future. Raise yourself up. Raise the other person up. Raise the quantum physics you have a headache about to study. Raise it up. Raise. Instead of doubt, instead of destroy. Raise. Okay? Receive without resistance. R. A is accept with appreciation. I, interpret with good intention. S, sympathize, to synchronize. E, evaluate, to exalt. Is that cool? Pretty cool, right? I like it. Simple enough, easy to remember. Let me tell you one example before I conclude today's talk. That was a miracle to me about 10 years ago. When I was still in Georgia Tech, I was doing my PhD study, the first semester. Okay, that's more than 10 years ago. Anyway, that was the first semester I was in Georgia Tech. I was taking a very, very challenging class. It's called a macromolecular biology. That's a graduate class, a class for graduate student. I was like a bioinformatics systems biology student there. So I'm supposed to take the class. But guess what? Their prerequisite is college level chemistry, biochemistry, and college level training on biology. I have none of it. I have none of it. So I was in, when I was in undergrad, I was in mathematics, right? When I do my master in math and computer, I have nothing to do with this kind of stuff, right? So it was so difficult to me, that class. So difficult. How difficult it is? I I didn't think that I'm a stupid person, right? But guess what? I score consistently top 10% for the for the first couple tests, and also the two midterm exam. I scored the top 10%. Unfortunately, from the bottom up. That's how crazy it is. I remember one of the midterm exam. The instructor, I remember his name is Nick something. He's a professor from the biochemistry department, something like that. Or so he said that, okay, in our exam, the median or the average median, something like that, score is about like 75 or something like that. Close to that score. I look at my exam. Oh my goodness, I have 40. I have 40. I don't even get close, right? I need to multiply what I scored to get to the average. That's how crazy it is, right? So I have a hard time reading the textbook. I have a hard time understand what the teacher talk about because just lacking basic training, right? Every paragraph I read on that textbook, guess what? I can easily find out 5 to 10 new terminology. The first time I encounter only when I was preparing for my GRE, graduate record examination. So it's so hard. It's so hard to me, right? I basically need to do some searching on the internet or use a textbook to look at the definition of this particular terminology to understand what the heck is talking about this sentence, right? Not to mention about the paragraph. So the end result was the first two midterm exam, I scored terribly, right? The top 10% from bottom up. And before the final exam, which is the right after Thanksgiving, I remember that the first semester, right after Thanksgiving. Okay, let me take care of my dog first. All right, say hello. You're the most famous dog. You are my data science manager. So before the final exam, I have over the months, because I have a hard time to understand the material, although I force myself pretty hard, I have basically 185 pages, around that number of textbook I had never read through. It was so hard because I just trying to avoid it. Although I pushed myself, but after a couple of attempts, I avoid it again. So I ended up have a 180 some pages text haven't read before because just that damn hard. Simply because. And my score was like top 10 from bottom up, right? So I go to the professor. Right? I went to the professor. I say, hey, I want a decent score in this class, but how much I should score in my final exam to get a decent score? And he was pretty data driven. So he pulled out all my records and he looked at it. You got to score over at least 93%. I mean, 93% out of 100. That's what I'm talking about. He's not comparing me with any other person, right? He said that if you want a decent score, doesn't pull down your GPA significantly, you need to score at least that much. I get it, right? There's no argument, no doubts. That's the reality. And so again, I push myself again. I try to push this material into my brain, right? And to process this information. I didn't success. So at that time, it happened I attend a Chinese student fellowship, which is a Christian student fellowship. They have an invited speaker from Singapore. And that guy was talking about Thanksgiving. He's sharing this very simple message from the Bible, basically. Right? He's talking about thanksgiving. In whatever situation, give thanks to God. Give thanks to the situation you are in. Always praise God, right? Always praise, no matter how hard, what the situation it is. So after 3 days of the Thanksgiving conference, happened in the student fellowship, which is on the 10th Street, the United Methodist Church. I'm not sure whether they are still gathering there. Hopefully they are. I will visit you sometime. And anyway, that speaker talked about that simple message and talk about his own experience, like how he experienced this breakthrough, miracle breakthrough in his own life, things like that. I get the point. I said, wow, that could be the way out for me, right? To deal with this macromolecular biology final exam. Even that Saturday, I still remember very clear. I was sitting in the math department, my office, and I tried to force myself. I say that I cannot avoid it anymore. In these coming 3 hours, I'm going to read 5 pages, 10 pages, but I was not successful. That's how crazy it is, how real it is, right? The difficulty was so real, so imminent. So if I cannot deal with it, I basically, for sure, I will get an F. I will fail this macrobiology exam class. So because I hear that, again, hear that the preacher talk about give thanks, always praise, always give thanks. Then God, whenever you put that, you're honoring God in that way, He is going to be your help, be your wisdom. So I said, why not? Let me try it, right? So there are only 3 days left, basically, after the Thanksgiving conference. I just say that, okay, let me just accept the situation I'm in. Yeah, I'm on this level, right? This is the level I'm supposed in, but I'm on that level, very, very low level. I still need to deal with the terminology things. I still need to deal with the whole semester teaching of stuff I couldn't understand very well. So I still need to deal with that kind of very realistic situation. But the only thing I change is every word I understand, I give thanks to God. I was that radical. Every sentence I started to make sense, I give thanks to God. And I started to appreciate, oh, wow. Oh, it means this, right? Oh, this alpha shit or beta shit, that kind of thing, it means this, it means that. Oh, it makes sense, right? Thank you, Law. You're so amazing, right? The design is so beautiful. Wow. And the series itself is so elegant, right? So simple. And I started to give thanks and give praise to God for the situation I'm in, for the sentence I'm reading, for the paragraphs I'm reading. Guess what? 3 days. And by then, I need to give a little bit more context. I was dealing with another 3 final exam in real analysis. That's the qualified exam from the math department. And there are other like 2 algebra kind of things, like linear algebra or abstract algebra, that kind of abstract mathematics. I was still needing to prepare my final, on the other subject, besides this macromolecular biology. So that was the situation I was facing. I basically have totally 1 week to deal with that 3, at least 3, but most likely I take 4 classes that semester, 4 final exam. So macrobiology is one of it. So I apply this principle everywhere I go. I give thanks to God. I thank Him for everything I'm reading. I thank Him for for the sentence I'm reading. I don't even know that's a knowledge, right? I thank Him for one terminology I got to understand. And I also, position myself in front of the professor's office. Whenever I have a question, if I cannot solve it within 5 minutes, I approach him. Some of it I asked the professor, obviously. He was there basically probably 1 hour a day, something like that. He's available. That's his availability. But also, like find abundant help, right? Mainly by my own reading, but I would say probably 10% of the time, I also ask people around me. and ask them, what does it really mean, like this sentence or that sentence? My English is still like, I'm on that process, right? Learning this terminology. Anyway, so 3 days passed. Here come the final exam. Guess what? I felt pretty good after I did the final exam. I felt, probably I'm making it. I feel I understand the material very well. I finished reading this 180 pages of crazy, crazy textbook. And I felt I understand it. And after I did the final exam, I think that, probably I performed pretty well. I have that kind of peace just by simply giving sense and giving praise. No resistance, right? Receiving without resistance, accepting with appreciation, interpret with good intent, sympathize with synchronization, right? Evaluate in order to excel. I was basically doing all this race thing within that 3 days. Guess what? When I received the final score, how much I get? B plus. B plus. It means that I scored really high in my final exam. So this is the what I call the cherry on the top of whatever I present today. Hopefully, it's not just cherry picking, but the principle behind that, the race principle behind that, I do believe that is highly, highly transferable. You don't believe me? Do it. Try it by yourself. Okay, I see you next time. I obviously overdid. Next time would be a little bit better, but I enjoy talking to you. I hope that you enjoy it too. Any question, connect with me through LinkedIn and talk to me. Hope that you will talk to me, and so that I can receive some real feedback from you. Okay. All right. Raise yourself up. Raise your spouse up. Raise your boss up. Raise the difficult subject you are facing. Raise it up. See you next time. Have peace.